Once upon a time, in the magical Whispering Woods where Bobby Bear lived with his loving family, there was a problem that had been growing bigger and bigger each day. Bobby Bear, who was known throughout the forest as the bravest little cub during the day and the most courageous explorer at night, had discovered something that made him feel scared in a way he had never felt before. It all started about 3 months ago when Bobby first noticed a tiny, sharp pain in one of his back teeth while he was enjoying his favorite treat, sweet honey cakes that his grandmother made every Sunday. At first, the pain was so small that Bobby thought it would just go away on its own, like when he sometimes got a small scrape on his paw that healed by itself. Bobby lived in the coziest house in all of Whispering Woods, with his mama, papa, and little sister Bella. Their home was painted the color of warm sunshine, with a red roof that looked like a giant strawberry, and windows that sparkled like diamonds when the morning light hit them. The house was always filled with the most wonderful smells: fresh baked bread, cinnamon rolls, and the sweet scent of wildflowers that grew in their garden. Bobby's room was on the second floor, decorated with pictures of all his forest adventures. Shelves full of smooth stones and pretty feathers he had collected, and a big comfortable bed with quilts that his grandmother had sewn by hand. But lately, Bobby hadn't been enjoying his room quite as much as usual because every time he tried to eat his favorite bedtime snack of milk and cookies, that little pain in his tooth would remind him that something wasn't quite right. As the weeks went by, the tiny pain began to grow into a bigger pain. Soon, Bobby noticed that it hurt not just when he ate sweet things, but also when he drank cold water from the crystal clear stream, or when he bit into crisp apples from the orchard behind their house. The pain would shoot through his tooth like a tiny lightning bolt, making him wince and hold his paw to his cheek. But Bobby, being a brave little bear who always wanted to solve his own problems, decided he could handle this situation by himself. He started eating more carefully, chewing only on the side of his mouth that didn't hurt. He stopped drinking cold water and asked his mama to make his drinks warm instead. He even stopped eating some of his favorite foods altogether, telling his family that he just wasn't hungry for them anymore. Mama Bear, with her warm brown eyes and gentle smile, began to notice that something was different about her little Bobby. She saw that he wasn't finishing his meals like he used to. She noticed that he would sometimes put his paw to his cheek and make a small, sad face. And she definitely noticed that Bobby wasn't asking for seconds of her famous honey pancakes anymore, which was very unusual for a growing bear cub. "Bobby, sweetheart," Mama Bear said one morning as she was making breakfast, "I've noticed you haven't been eating very much lately. Are you feeling okay?" Bobby, who didn't want to worry his mama, put on his biggest, brightest smile. "I'm fine, Mama. I'm just trying to eat healthier like in my first adventure with the magical broccoli forest." Papa Bear, who was reading his morning newspaper and sipping his coffee, looked up with his wise, kind eyes. Papa Bear was a large, gentle bear with a deep, rumbling voice that always made everyone feel safe and protected. "That's wonderful, son, but even when we eat healthy, we still need to eat enough to keep our bodies strong and our energy high for all our forest adventures." Little Bella, Bobby's younger sister, who was only 4 years old, bounced in her chair with her pigtails flying. Bobby, will you share some honey toast with me? It's so yummy." But when Bobby tried to take a bite of the honey toast, the pain in his tooth shot through his whole jaw like a bolt of lightning. He quickly put down the toast and shook his head. "I'm not really hungry for toast today, Bella, but you go ahead and enjoy it." As the days passed, Bobby's tooth pain continued to get worse. What had started as one little sore spot had now become several sore spots. Bobby could count at least 6 or 7 places in his mouth that hurt when he tried to eat anything sweet, cold, or crunchy. The pain was starting to affect not just his eating, but his whole life. When his best friends, Ruby the raccoon, Oliver the owl, and Mia the mouse, invited him to the annual forest picnic, Bobby felt too uncomfortable to eat any of the delicious food. While all the other animals enjoyed fresh berries, crunchy vegetables, sweet corn on the cob, and ice-cold lemonade, Bobby could only sip warm tea and eat soft pieces of bread. "Bobby, you're not eating any of Mrs. Rabbit's famous carrot cake," said Ruby, who is Bobby's closest friend and adventure companion. "It's your favorite." Bobby looked longingly at the beautiful orange cake with its fluffy white frosting, decorated with tiny sugar carrots and green leaves. His mouth watered just thinking about how sweet and delicious it would taste. But he knew that one bite would send painful shocks through his teeth. "I'm just not very hungry today," Bobby said quietly, trying to hide the sadness in his voice. Oliver the owl, who was very wise and noticed everything, tilted his head thoughtfully. "Bobby, you've been saying you're not hungry a lot lately, and I've noticed you haven't been laughing as much as usual. Is everything really okay?" Bobby wanted to tell his friends about his tooth problems, but he was embarrassed. After all, he was supposed to be the brave bear who helped everyone else with their problems. How could he admit that he was scared of something as simple as tooth pain? The worst part came a week later, during Bella's 5th birthday party. Mama Bear had spent all day making Bella's favorite chocolate birthday cake with 3 layers, rainbow sprinkles, and 5 bright pink candles. All of Bella's friends came to the party, the young rabbit twins, the playful fox cubs, and even some of the older animals who love celebrating with the little ones. Everyone gathered around the big wooden table in the bear's garden, which was decorated with colorful balloons and streamers. The birthday cake sat in the center of the table, looking absolutely magnificent and smelling like heaven. "Make a wish, Bella," everyone called out as she took a deep breath to blow out her candles. Bella closed her eyes tight, made her wish, and blew out all 5 candles in one breath. Everyone cheered and clapped, and Mama Bear began cutting beautiful, generous slices of the chocolate cake for everyone. When Bobby's slice was placed in front of him, it looked perfect. The chocolate cake was rich and moist, the frosting was sweet and creamy, and the rainbow sprinkles sparkled like tiny jewels. Bobby picked up his fork, took a small bite, and immediately felt the sharp, shooting pain spread through multiple teeth at once. The pain was so intense that Bobby couldn't help but make a small crying sound and put his paws to both sides of his face. Tears started to form in his eyes, and he quickly tried to hide his face so no one would see. But little Bella, who loved her big brother more than anything in the world, noticed right away. "Bobby, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Don't you like my birthday cake?" Suddenly, all the attention was on Bobby. His parents, his little sister, and all their friends were looking at him with concern and worry. Bobby felt embarrassed and scared, and before he could stop himself, he started crying harder. "My teeth hurt," he finally admitted, the words tumbling out between sobs. "They hurt so much, and I can't eat anything sweet or cold or crunchy, and I'm scared, and I don't know what to do." Mama Bear immediately rushed to Bobby's side and gently gathered him in her warm, soft arms. "Oh, sweetheart, why didn't you tell us sooner? We're here to help you with anything that's bothering you." Papa Bear knelt down beside them, his deep voice full of love and concern. "Bobby, how long have your teeth been hurting?" "For months," Bobby whispered. "At first it was just one tooth, but now it's lots of them, and it hurts all the time, and I can't enjoy any of my favorite foods anymore." Dr. Wise, the forest's kindly old badger who served as the community doctor, was at Bella's party too. He had been watching the situation with his experienced eyes, and now he approached the family with a gentle, understanding smile. "Bobby," Dr. Wise said in his calm, reassuring voice, "it sounds like you might have some cavities in your teeth. That means there are little spots where your teeth need some special care and attention." Bobby's eyes grew wide with worry. "Cavities? That sounds scary." "They're not scary at all," Dr. Wise explained patiently. Cavities are very common, especially for young animals who love sweet treats. The good news is that they can be fixed very easily by Dr. Gentle, our forest dentist. But the moment Bobby heard the word dentist, his whole body started shaking. He had heard older animals talking about the dentist before, and in his imagination, he pictured a scary place with strange, frightening sounds and uncomfortable treatments. "No," Bobby said, his voice rising with panic. "I don't want to go to the dentist. I'm scared." "But Bobby," Mama Bear said gently, "if we don't take care of your teeth, they're going to keep hurting more and more. And you won't be able to enjoy all the wonderful foods you love." "I don't care," Bobby said, though deep down he really did care very much. "I'll just eat soft foods forever. I don't need to go to a scary dentist." Papa Bear sat down beside his son and spoke in his most understanding voice. "Bobby, I know you're scared. It's okay to feel scared about things we don't understand. But sometimes when we're scared of something, it's because we don't know very much about it yet." Over the next few days, Bobby's tooth pain continued to get worse. He could barely eat anything except warm soup, soft bread, and mashed fruits. He lost weight, and his usual energy and enthusiasm for adventures began to fade. He stopped wanting to play with his friends, and he spent most of his time lying quietly in his room, holding a warm cloth to his cheek. Worst of all, Bobby was missing out on all the fun activities that made life in Whispering Woods so wonderful. When the forest animals organized a berry-picking expedition, Bobby couldn't participate because he knew he wouldn't be able to eat any of the delicious berries they found. When there was a community barbecue with grilled corn and roasted marshmallows, Bobby had to sit on the sidelines, watching everyone else enjoy the festivities. Mama Bear and Papa Bear were becoming more and more worried about their little cub. They could see that the tooth pain wasn't just affecting his eating, it was affecting his whole happiness and quality of life. One evening, as the family sat together in their cozy living room, Mama Bear decided to try a different approach. "Bobby, what if we learn more about what really happens at the dentist? Sometimes when we're scared of something, it's because we don't know what to expect." Bobby looked up from the book he had been trying to read, though he hadn't been able to concentrate very well because of the pain. "What do you mean, Mama?" "Well, what if we visited Dr. Gentle's office, not for a treatment, but just to look around and meet her? That way, you could see for yourself what it's really like, instead of imagining scary things." Papa Bear nodded enthusiastically. "That's a wonderful idea. Dr. Gentle is one of the kindest, gentlest animals in our whole forest. I think you really like her if you got to meet her." Bobby felt a flutter of curiosity mixed with his fear. "We would just look around. We wouldn't do anything to my teeth. Just a friendly visit," Mama Bear promised. "And if you decide you're still not ready for treatment, we'll come home and think of other ways to help you." The next morning, the bear family walked through the forest to Dr. Gentle's dental office. Bobby held tightly to both his parents' paws, feeling nervous butterflies dancing in his stomach. He had imagined the dentist's office would be in a dark, scary building, but to his surprise, it was located in the most charming treehouse he had ever seen. The treehouse was built in an enormous, ancient oak tree that must have been hundreds of years old. The building seemed to grow right out of the tree itself, with curved walls that followed the natural shape of the trunk, and windows that were perfectly round like little portholes. The whole structure was painted a cheerful sky blue, with white trim that looked like fluffy clouds. Flower boxes under every window overflowed with bright, colorful flowers, and a winding staircase wrapped around the trunk of the tree, leading up to the front door. "This doesn't look scary at all," Bobby admitted, feeling some of his tension begin to ease. "It looks kind of magical." As they climbed the spiral staircase, Bobby could hear soft, pleasant music drifting down from above. It wasn't the scary mechanical sounds he had imagined. It was peaceful, cheerful music that reminded him of birds singing in the morning. When they reached the front door, which was painted bright yellow with a welcome mat that said, "Healthy smiles live here," Papa Bear knocked gently. The door opened to reveal the most surprising sight Bobby could have imagined. Dr. Gentle was an elegant deer with the kindest eyes Bobby had ever seen. She was much smaller than Bobby had expected, with a gentle smile, soft brown fur, and tiny silver glasses that made her look very wise and friendly. She was wearing a light blue coat that was decorated with tiny rainbows and smiling suns. "Hello," Dr. Gentle said in a voice that was as warm as hot chocolate on a cold day. "You must be Bobby Bear. I've heard so many wonderful things about you from the other forest animals. Would you like to come in and look around my office?" Bobby found himself nodding before he realized it. There was something about Dr. Gentle's voice and smile that made him feel immediately safer. The inside of the dental office was even more amazing than the outside. The walls were painted to look like a peaceful meadow, with rolling green hills, fluffy white clouds, and a rainbow arcing across the ceiling. Instead of scary-looking equipment, Bobby saw child-sized chairs that looked like comfortable recliners, painted in cheerful colors like sunshine yellow and ocean blue. "This is where I help keep everyone's teeth healthy and happy," Dr. Gentle explained as she gave them a tour. "Would you like to see some of the tools I use?" Bobby expected to see frightening, sharp instruments, but instead, Dr. Gentle showed him small, gentle tools that looked nothing like what he had imagined. She had a tiny mirror for looking at teeth, a soft brush for cleaning, and even a special camera that could take pictures of teeth to help her see exactly how to help them. "The most important thing I do," Dr. Gentle explained, "is make sure that every animal feels safe and comfortable. If something hurts, we stop right away and find a way to make it better. And I always explain everything I'm doing, so there are never any scary surprises." Dr. Gentle showed Bobby a special chair that can move up and down and even play soothing music. "Some of my patients like to listen to their favorite songs while I work on their teeth. Others like to hear stories, and some just like to take a little nap while I help them." "It really doesn't hurt?" Bobby asked, his voice small but curious. "I have special medicine that makes sure your teeth don't feel any pain at all while I'm working," Dr. Gentle explained gently. "It's like when your paw falls asleep and you can't feel anything, except this medicine only affects your teeth, and the rest of your body feels perfectly normal." Dr. Gentle then showed Bobby a wall full of certificates and pictures from all the animals she had helped. There were photos of smiling rabbits, happy squirrels, proud foxes, and even brave wolves, all showing off their healthy, beautiful teeth. "Every single one of these animals was nervous when they first came to see me," Dr. Gentle said. "But after we fixed their teeth, they felt so much better. They could eat all their favorite foods again, they didn't have any pain, and their smiles were brighter than ever." Bobby looked at all the happy faces in the photographs, and for the first time in months, he started to feel a tiny spark of hope. "Dr. Gentle," Bobby said quietly, "if I decided to let you help my teeth, what would happen?" Dr. Gentle's eyes lit up with warmth and encouragement. "Well, first, I would take some pictures of your teeth with my special camera so we could see exactly what needs to be fixed. Then I would give you this special medicine so your teeth wouldn't feel any pain. After that, I would very carefully clean out the places where cavities have formed and fill them with a special material that makes your teeth strong and healthy again." "How long would it take?" Bobby asked. "For someone with teeth like yours, probably about an hour. And you could bring your favorite stuffed animal, or listen to music, or even watch a movie on my special ceiling screen while I work." Bobby thought about this for a long moment. He thought about how much his teeth hurt every day. He thought about all the delicious foods he was missing: Mama's honey pancakes, fresh berries, ice cream on hot summer days, and even simple things like crisp apples and cold water. He thought about how he had to miss out on parties and picnics and all the fun social activities that made life in Whispering Woods so special. But most of all, he thought about how proud he had felt when he overcame his fear of the dark, and when he learned to embrace his differences, and when he discovered that being brave meant doing the right thing, even when you felt scared. "Mama, Papa," Bobby said, turning to his parents with a look of determination in his eyes, "I think I want Dr. Gentle to help fix my teeth." Mama Bear's eyes filled with proud tears, and Papa Bear put his large, warm paw on Bobby's shoulder. "Are you sure, sweetheart?" Mama Bear asked gently. "We don't have to decide today." "I'm sure," Bobby said, his voice growing stronger with each word. "I'm tired of being scared, and I'm tired of missing out on the good things in life. I want to be able to eat birthday cake at parties, and drink cold lemonade on hot days, and bite into crunchy apples again." Dr. Gentle smiled the biggest, proudest smile. "Bobby, that might be the bravest thing I've ever heard a young animal say. I would be honored to help you get your healthy smile back." They scheduled Bobby's appointment for the following week, which gave him time to prepare mentally and emotionally. During those days, Bobby found himself feeling nervous sometimes, but mostly he felt excited about the prospect of being able to enjoy food again. Mama Bear helped Bobby prepare by letting him practice relaxation techniques, taking deep, slow breaths and thinking about peaceful, happy things. Papa Bear told him stories about his own visits to the dentist when he was young, and how good he felt afterward when his teeth were healthy and strong. Even little Bella helped by drawing Bobby a picture of him with a big, bright smile, surrounded by all his favorite foods, honey cakes, fresh berries, ice cream, and crunchy apples. On the day of his appointment, Bobby woke up feeling a mixture of nervousness and excitement. He ate a soft breakfast, his last meal with tooth pain, he hoped, brushed his teeth very carefully, and put on his favorite blue shirt that made him feel brave and confident. The whole family walked to Dr. Gentle's office together. This time, the treehouse looked even more welcoming and cheerful than before. Dr. Gentle greeted them at the door with her warm smile and led Bobby to the special treatment room. "Bobby, I want you to know that you're in complete control today," Dr. Gentle said as Bobby climbed into the comfortable chair. "If you need me to stop for any reason, just raise your paw, and I'll stop immediately. And if you have any questions about what I'm doing, just ask." First, Dr. Gentle took the special pictures of Bobby's teeth. The camera was no bigger than a pencil, and it didn't hurt at all. On a screen next to the chair, Bobby could see exactly what his teeth looked like, and Dr. Gentle explained everything she saw. "You have 6 small cavities," she explained, pointing to the dark spots on the screen. "They're not too big, which means they'll be easy to fix. And once they're repaired, your teeth will be even stronger than they were before." Next came the special medicine that would make sure Bobby's teeth didn't hurt during the treatment. Dr. Gentle applied it with a tiny brush that felt like a gentle tickle, and within a few minutes, Bobby couldn't feel any pain in his teeth at all. "How do you feel?" Dr. Gentle asked. "Amazing," Bobby said with surprise. "I can't feel the tooth pain for the first time in months." During the treatment, Bobby listened to his favorite adventure stories through special headphones. The music and stories were so engaging that he almost forgot where he was. Occasionally, he would feel gentle vibrations or slight pressure, but no pain at all. Dr. Gentle worked carefully and patiently, taking breaks whenever Bobby needed them, explaining each step of the process, and checking frequently to make sure he was comfortable. After about an hour, Dr. Gentle announced, "All done. Bobby, your teeth are completely healthy now." She gave Bobby a special mirror so he could see his teeth. They looked bright, white, and perfectly healthy. But more importantly, when Bobby experimentally pressed his tongue against the places that used to hurt, he felt absolutely no pain at all. "Can I eat crunchy things now?" Bobby asked excitedly. "You can eat anything you want," Dr. Gentle said with a laugh. though I recommend waiting about an hour for the medicine to completely wear off, just to be safe. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Gentle gave Bobby a special care kit with a soft toothbrush, special toothpaste that tasted like mint and honey, and a chart where he could track his daily toothbrushing. The best way to keep your teeth healthy, Dr. Gentle explained, is to brush them twice a day, eat healthy foods most of the time, and come see me twice a year for checkups. That way, we can catch any small problems before they become big problems. Bobby nodded enthusiastically. I promise I'll take really good care of my teeth from now on. When they got home, the first thing Bobby wanted to do was test his newly healthy teeth. Mama Bear had prepared a special healthy teeth celebration with some of Bobby's favorite foods, a crisp, juicy apple, a glass of cool, refreshing water, and even a small piece of honey cake. Bobby bit into the apple with confidence, and instead of pain, he felt the satisfying crunch and tasted the sweet, refreshing flavor. The cold water felt wonderful and refreshing instead of painful. And the honey cake. Oh, the honey cake tasted even more delicious than he had remembered. This is the best day ever, Bobby announced, his mouth full of apple and his face glowing with happiness. That evening, when Bobby's friends came over to hear about his adventure, he couldn't stop talking about how wonderful it felt to have healthy teeth again. I was so scared for nothing, he told Ruby, Oliver, and Mia. Dr. Gentle was the kindest, most gentle doctor I've ever met. And now I can eat anything I want without pain. To demonstrate, Bobby crunched happily on some of Mama Bear's homemade granola, drank a tall glass of cold milk, and even enjoyed a small ice cream cone that Papa Bear had brought home as a surprise. Bobby, said Oliver the wise owl, you've taught us all an important lesson about facing our fears. What's that? Bobby asked. That sometimes the things we're most afraid of turn out to be much easier than we imagined, and that getting help when we need is always the brave thing to do. Ruby nodded in agreement, and you showed us that taking care of our health is one of the most important things we can do for ourselves. That night, as Bobby brushed his teeth with his new special toothbrush, he looked at himself in the mirror and smiled the biggest, brightest smile he had ever smiled. His teeth were white and healthy, his gums were pink and strong, and best of all, he felt no pain at all. As he climbed into bed, Bobby felt proud of himself for facing his fear and doing what was necessary to take care of his health. He realized that this adventure had taught him something very important. Taking care of yourself isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. From that day forward, Bobby became known throughout Whispering Woods, not just as the brave bear who could conquer any external challenge, but as the wise bear who understood that taking care of yourself, eating healthy foods, getting enough, sleep, exercising, and yes, taking care of your teeth was one of the most important adventures of all. Bobby never missed a toothbrushing session, and he never missed his regular checkups with Dr. Gentle. And whenever other young animals in the forest were scared about going to the dentist, Bobby would share his story and even offer to go with them for their first visit. But perhaps most importantly, Bobby learned to pay attention to his body and his health, and to speak up when something wasn't feeling right, instead of trying to handle everything by himself. He learned that asking for help when you need it isn't a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom and self-care. And so Bobby Bear lived happily and healthily ever after, enjoying all the delicious foods of Whispering Woods, sharing wonderful meals and celebrations with his friends and family, and always taking excellent care of his bright, healthy smile. Years later, when Bobby had grown up to be a wise adult bear, he would often tell young cubs this story about the importance of dental health and facing medical fears. And he would always end the story by showing them his own bright, healthy smile and reminding them that taking care of yourself is the greatest gift you can give to the people who love you. Dear little ones, just like Bobby Bear, you might sometimes feel scared about visiting the dentist. But remember, Dentists are there to help keep your teeth healthy and strong. Taking care of your teeth helps you enjoy all your favorite foods and keeps your smile bright and beautiful. Dear parents, this story addresses common dental anxiety while emphasizing the importance of oral health. Regular dental checkups and good oral hygiene habits established in childhood create a foundation for lifelong health. Subscribe for more Bobby Bear health adventures and bedtime stories. Ring the bell for new tales every week. Like if Bobby's brave dentist visit inspired your little one. Comment below, share your child's dental care victories. Check out our complete Bobby Bear playlist for more heartwarming lessons, healthy smiles, and sweet dreams from all of us. See you in Bobby's next adventure.